This meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals is hereby called to order. This board was established pursuant to Section 519.13 of the Ohio Revised Code by the Anderson Township trustees to provide administrative relief to any person or entity adversely affected by the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Nasilevich?
Here.
Mr. Halpin?
Present.
Mr. Haber?
Here.
Mr. Skank?
Here.
Mr. Sion?
Here. Thank you for coming to this meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals. Please be aware that this meeting is audio and videotaped and may be carried live on television. First, I'll outline our procedures. A summary of the appeal is presented by the staff. Then the appellant will present its case. The board members may then ask questions of the appellant. After that, all persons supporting the appeal will be permitted to testify one at a time after being recognized by the chairman. When those persons supporting the appeal are finished, those opposed to the appeal would then be permitted to testify and/or ask questions of the board after being recognized by the chairman. All persons wishing to testify, whether for or against an appeal, may only do so after being sworn in.
No, you're good. You're good.
When testifying, each person must come forward to the podium after being recognized, speak into the microphone, and state their name, address, and any affiliation to the case. All persons testifying will be limited to 4 minutes unless a board member requests additional time. All testimony is given to the board only. No comments or questions are to be directed to the appellant or anyone else in the audience. The board will only hear new, non-repetitive evidence or questions. Should someone wish to show support of previous testimony, they may do so by following the testimony procedures and stating their support of previous testimony. Now, will all persons who may give testimony this evening please stand, raise your right hand, and swear or affirm? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
There are not.
We have a motion to approve the agenda as is.
I'll move that. Second.
Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Please call the roll on the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Nasilevich?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Skank? Yes. Mr. Sion?
Aye. Do we have any revisions to the minutes from May 3rd, 2018 meeting?
No, we do not.
Can we get a motion to approve the minutes as noted?
I'll move that we approve the minutes as noted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Nasilevich?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Skank?
Abstain.
Mr. Sion?
Aye. With that, we will move on to today's cases, starting with consideration of case number 8-2018 BZA. Would the staff please read the summary for that case?
Yeah. Before we get started here, I want to introduce our new co-op, Sam Hoffman. She will be presenting one of our cases tonight. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We are having a few technical issues, so if the screen glitches, please bear with us. So these are the standards to be considered when determining whether a property owner seeking a variance should get it or not. So our first case tonight is case number 8-2018 BZA. The applicant is James Bettner, who's the property owner of 7723 Stoneleigh Lane, and the parcel number is Book 500, page 212, parcel 340. The zoning of that property is B residence, and the request is a variance request to allow an addition to the rear of the house with a rear yard setback of 24 feet, where a rear yard setback of 35 feet is required per Article 3.5 C2C of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. So a little bit of history on this case. The property, I'm sorry. Should we switch, you think? All right. 1 second, we're going to switch computers. All right, I apologize for that. Okay, so a little bit of history on this case. The property in question was built in 2015 as Lot 14 in the Hunters Run subdivision and was purchased by the applicants on May 3rd, 2016. One other variance has been granted on Stoneleigh Lane at 7866 Stoneleigh with case number 26, 2015 BZA to allow a rear yard setback of 26 feet 7 inches for a 16-foot by 18-foot addition where a 35-yard setback is required. So this is the property in question. Let me get my pointer. You can see all of the houses on Stoneleigh Lane are built relatively at the building setback line. This is an aerial of the property. You can see here a row of pine trees that are acting as a buffer. Some of the houses to the left here on Foxbrook are also zoned B residents, but as you can see, those lots are a little bigger. You can also see, again, here where the building setback line, almost all of the houses are abiding to that line. This is the topography map. You can see that the site in question is relatively flat. And this is the site plan that the applicant has submitted. You can see here the addition, which is going to enclose a porch, an existing porch in the rear yard. This is what the addition is proposed to look like. So it has kind of an open feel to it. You can sit on the back porch. This is a view of the house from Stoneleigh Lane, and another view from Stoneleigh Lane. You can see in the side yard there are some trees acting as a buffer. This is the porch that the applicant is wanting to enclose with the addition. Again, another picture of that porch. And then this is the view from the side yard. You can see in this picture, this is the addition that was approved in the past with case 26 BZA. This is on the other side yard of the house, and again, you can see more trees buffering. And this is from actually the yard in Foxbrook Lane. You can see the trees that are acting as a buffer there, and then looking from the porch towards Foxbrook Lane. And then again, this is the porch in question that the applicant, where they are wanting to build the addition. So the staff findings, staff is of the opinion that the variance could be substantial. While currently built at a setback of 38 feet 9 inches, the addition would bring the house 24 feet from the property line, whereas all of the houses, except previously approved variances, on Stoneleigh Lane have been constructed near or on the 35-foot setback. The essential character of the neighborhood could substantially be altered, and adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. The neighbors on either side of the property in question are directly parallel with existing property built relatively close to the rear setback line. However, the proposed design and plans have been submitted and approved by the Hunters Run Homeowners Association. The variance would not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. The property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. As a result, the existing home is already built at 38 feet 9 inches from the property line, and that leaves only 3 feet to build the addition without encroaching into the setback. Staff is of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement may not be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. So again, these are our standards to be considered, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I need you to go back a couple of pictures, if you would, please. This one right here. The house on down, that's case 26-2015 BZA.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Next question. Staff is of the opinion that the variance could be substantial and that the essential character of the neighborhood could be substantially altered. Can you tell me what could be means for us? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
I don't know what that necessarily means.
Yeah, so there's a very strong, especially with this street and the subdivision, the houses were built on relatively small lots, I think almost at the limit of how small the lots are allowed to be. And so as a result, many of the houses are built right at that, at the property line at the setback line. And, with the addition, that does encroach, pretty far into the rear yard setback. And so that was the meaning behind that, I suppose.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Any further questions of the staff?
I have one question. I'd like to have the same kind of interpretation for paragraph 7.
Paragraph 7. I'm sorry, this here?
Am I miss-
Are you looking at the standards to be considered? Standards to be considered, number 7.
Okay, so it is the substantial justice.
Just, staff is of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement may not be observed in substantial justice done by granting the variance. That basically is saying that the intent behind the zoning resolution may not necessarily be met by granting a variance. Correct.
Would not be that,
Yes,
and substantial injustice would occur.
potentially.
Thank you.
Any further questions of staff? Seeing none, will the appellant or the appellant's representative please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name, address, and any affiliation to the appeal.
I'll go ahead and start with my address. My name is Jim Bettner. I live at 7723 Stoneleigh Lane.
Please proceed.
Okay. First, if I could, I wanted to introduce Mike Studer. He's with a design firm that did the design work for us. Mike, if you wanted to step in here for a second.
Good evening. My name is Mike Studer with Studer Residential Designs. We did the preliminary design work for this house as well as the porch that was shown for the house up the street. But all the houses face west and have the same problem with really bright sunlight there, and that was the motivation behind the first porch that was done.
If I may, I made copies of 5 emails I received from neighbors in the neighborhood asking for their opinion as to whether they had any problem or not. If I could pass.
Board okay with that?
Yeah.
You can, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
So just a couple things. The main reason that we want to do this is we are west-facing. We did know when we built this house that we were west-facing, and we do know that the sun sets in the west and understand that the sun would be beating down. But what we did not know, that the 38.9 feet line, we didn't know that we would have any issues with any kind of an addition that went on after. So that, I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that, because I know that was one of the things that's considered when you do your evaluation. One other point, while this is being called an addition, it's not heated, it's not cooled. It will be attached to the house, but it is a very open air type of thing. It's not a structure that would be in your face, I would say, with the neighbors behind. So I wanted to make that point. And one other thing, the neighbor that's there's two neighbors directly behind the house you saw in the picture. One was under construction. It's now fully constructed. They're in. And then the guy right behind us, he's a ranch. He's in. They're in full support of this project as well. I do not have an email to that effect, but I will testify to that as being true. You know, the biggest thing for us is we like to grill out and have friends and neighbors over, and we just had a very hot weekend a couple weekends ago during Memorial Weekend. My whole family came over, and we all ended up inside the house because, as you may recall, it was 90 or so degrees and very hot, and nobody could sit outside. So that was an early example in the year. Once we get into July and August, it's going to be a whole nother ball game with the heat out there. So I think you can see from the drawings and from the front of the house and the condition of our property that we were kind of sticklers with the way we maintain our property, and we're not going to put up something that doesn't look very nice. We're going to spend a nice amount of money on this, and it's going to be very similar to the structure that's up the street, 2 doors up, that Studer designed, and we're going to actually use the same firm, Oakley Home Improvement, to do the construction work. So we wanted to kind of keep everything standard so that you all can kind of see that and compare and contrast. That's really all I wanted to say.
The patio that you have there already, is this going to be larger than that patio, or is it going to fit on top of that patio?
It'll fit on top of the patio from a length standpoint. The 21 feet will encompass 21 of about 35 feet of the patio. So when you look to the other side where that grill is to all the way back, that's about 35 feet.
Okay, so from the red plant over to the grill, that's 35 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then
From the wall of the house to the end here?
is 14. Well, where you see the end here is 12. So that patio is 12 by 35. Then we'll come out 2 more feet into the
Beyond
grass.
that, okay.
Yeah. And then the 21 feet, just to give you perspective, if you see that light that's by the back door there, that's where the end of the peak would be. So it's going to be a gabled roof that would go up like this and come to the end on this side and fit onto the... Excuse me?
Does it just cover the walk, the porch, the steps up to the door?
Yes, it'll cover all the way over past the door, and that's about 2 feet, let's say, from the door over. So the door will be all enclosed inside the roof line.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When we designed the porch, it has a gable on the end, it has a half-circle window, trying to do something that's very attractive so that it would look good from all the neighbors. And I think everybody else on that street faces west. We were just there a little bit ago. It's extremely warm. The sun beats off of it. It would really increase the livability of the house, and didn't put a shed roof, didn't try to just do something that to minimally cover it, but really try to make something that would look nice and be an asset. And and we're actually going to hold it down so as little structure as possible. There'll be still steps going out of the house. In the cathedral ceiling will be on the inside, but there'll be the half circle, nice columns. It's soften it down so it really looks like it's part and parcel of the house.
Any further questions from the board?
I do have one question, and that is, in accordance with our zoning code, we are allowed to put accessory buildings within the rear yard. An accessory building is probably no more than a third of the rear yard and can be a minimum of 3 feet away from the property lines. Do you ever have a desire right now to put an accessory structure within your rear yard?
No, and it would be to follow the spirit of, if you could, there's a picture that shows the swale in the yard. That swale, we even have that waterfall feature. That whole area cannot have anything in it anyway. And there's just not enough space back there to, so the answer is no to your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, the HOA has certain requirements as well that wouldn't allow something like that.
Okay, so I'm going to direct the question. Are you saying that your HOA prevents accessory structures in the rear yard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions from the board? You're done, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of this appeal? Please state your name, address, and affiliation with the case.
My name is Jennifer Allred, and I live at 7783 Stoneleigh Lane. I am the vice president on the board and have approved this improvement. I'm also a realtor, and the home that had the variance with the additional structure is actually on the market and sale pending currently. The improvements they made both with the structure outside has actually substantially increased the value of their property and increased the value of the property within the streets. They purchased the home in the mid-4 range and have listed their home and sold it in the they're at 535. And so we feel that this is actually an increase of value for our properties in the neighborhood. We also believe that it is a great asset to the home to make the yard more usable. Having a patio structure like this actually makes it enjoyable to be in your backyard, whereas right now it's just too hot to do so.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor of this appeal?
My name is Alex Trubak, and I live at 7748 Stoneleigh Lane, Jim's neighbor. I'm here to support this request. I was at Jim's backyard the other day, and we looked at plans and how structure would fit, and to me it seems like it would increase the value of the homes in the neighborhood, and it seems quite reasonable request to be fulfilled, so I support this.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this appeal? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this appeal? Seeing none, are there any further questions from the board? Ready to close the case? Hearing no further comments, and if there's no objection, I will close the public hearing on case number 8-2018 BZA. The board will take this case under consideration and deliberate later tonight. And with that, we will move on to the next case. Case number 9-2018 BZA. Will the staff please read the summary?
There we go. So the second case tonight is case number 9. The applicants are Stephen and Megan Wilcoxon, property owners of 7072 Pattison Road, Book 500, page 281, parcel 039. It is currently zoned as C residence. The request is for a variance to allow an addition in the front yard with a setback of 24 feet where 30 feet is required per Article 3.7C2A of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. The property in question was built in 1937 prior to Hamilton County or Anderson Township zoning standards and was purchased by the applicants on April 12, 2018. Since the house was built prior to zoning standards, it is currently set back approximately 26 feet from the right-of-way, making it a non-conforming house in the C resident zoning district, where a 30-foot front yard setback is required. The property in question was approved for a 22-foot to 10-foot by 4 feet, 5 inches awning in the side yard in May of 2018. So this is the property map. It is 0.46 acres with approximately 99 feet of frontage on Pattison Road. There we go. So the aerial map just shows it's mostly flat with open space, not too many trees. I don't know if my clicker is working. Okay. The topography map just shows once again that it's mostly flat. The site plan, it's a little hard to read, but it's showing that it is 24 feet from the right-of-way with the addition. The addition itself is 14 feet 7 inches wide, and then it is 34.5 or 34 and a half feet from the southern property line in their side yard. The elevation shows the addition, which will encompass the current front porch with the small window on the front. So therefore, it will be removing the original front door and using the side door as the new front door. The awning was also part of a zoning case previously, so. This is looking from Pattison Road towards the front of the building. And then this is looking from the side yard north, and then once again the other side yard. And then this is the backyard. And then it's from the backyard looking towards Pattison. So staff is of the opinion that the variance is not substantial. The house was constructed with a front yard setback of 26 feet in 1937 and therefore is non-conforming by 4 feet. And if approved, the front yard setback will be non-conforming by 6 feet. In addition, there is approximately 20 feet of land from the right-of-way line to the edge of pavement on Pattison Road, meaning that if approved, the addition would sit approximately 44 feet from the edge of pavement. The essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Several homes to the north of the property in question are similar in age and materials and also have non-conforming front yard setbacks. The materials proposed for this addition include white or light grayish blue siding, which will also be used to replace all of the current siding on the structure. The existing front door and the porch, as I mentioned, will be removed. Therefore, the side door nearest the chimney will become the front door. Landscape plan was not submitted. The front of the house where the addition will be constructed will be visible from the roadway. With the variance, the new bedroom will gain an additional 2 feet to be a total size of 9.5 feet by 14.5 feet. The variance would not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. And the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. The house is currently a one-bedroom, and the applicant is seeking to create another bedroom for potential renters. Staff is of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed by granting the variance based on the surrounding properties along Pattison that are already non-conforming, including the property in question and the materials that are being proposed for the addition, which are similar to those used on the existing homes in the area. And once again, these are the zoning resolution.
Any questions of staff?
No.
Seeing none, would the appellant please step forward, come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name, address, and affiliation with the case?
Steve Wilcoxon. I live at 7027 Pattison Road and am the owner of 7072 Pattison Road. And I'm just seeking to turn this house into a two-bedroom, one-bath with hopes that when I rent it, I can get a family in there or a single mother with a child or something of the sort, rather than with the one-bedroom. I'm going to be limited pretty much to single individuals or couples that I feel will have less interest in staying in the area and you know, planting roots. So that's all I got pretty much.
Any questions of the appellant?
On the drawings, or the overview, is that the garage to the back rear, right?
Yes.
Okay, there it is. That's all I got.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this appeal? Seeing none, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to this appeal? Seeing none and hearing no further comments, any last questions from the board?
Nope.
Hearing no further comments, if there's no objections from the board, I will close the case on this public hearing number 9-2018. The board will deliberate both these cases. Everybody is welcome to stay if they like. They don't have to. We will, the public meeting will be closed at this point, so it will strictly be amongst the board members and staff that the deliberations will happen. Want to take a recess or just continue?
Well, we can.
Is anybody in need of a recess, or shall we continue on?
Continue.
All right, if we're ready, then we can begin deliberation on case number 8-2018. Someone wish to start us off?
Yes, I do. I'm just trying to write my notes here. Let me start off by saying that I'm in favor of granting this variance request. And for a number of reasons. I was here in 2015 with case 26-2015 and want to approach, as if I remember correctly, our approach to this would be similar to having granted that variance back in 2015. So again, I'm troubled by the fact that staff is of the opinion that the variance could be, I'm sorry, I need to rephrase that. I'm troubled that the variance could be substantial, because I believe granting the variance is the right thing to do. I have been at other houses that have faced the west, and on a hot summer day on their deck, we last about a couple hours and then we go inside. And the layout design of the street with the with the private spaces on the rear of the house facing the west can make them intolerable, as was the testimony from the appellant regarding their recent usage of the patio over the Memorial Day weekend. I think we have a precedent that we set back in case 26-2015 BZA. I think back then, or at least in another case, is that we said as a condition, because I don't mind the patio cover, even though it's an addition, if it remains open. And a number of conditions that we have put on previously, and that's why I asked the question regarding the accessory building located in the rear yard, is because this is being attached to the house, is going to have a less impact on the neighbors than if they were to put and allowed, again, we're talking zoning here and not HOA, that if they were to put an accessory structure in the rear yard, that it would be more of an imposition than this addition could be. So I believe in the hardship, that the homeowner is enduring because of the west-facing outdoors. I think it's the right thing to do. We've got a precedent set with case 26-2015 BZA. We've had testimony that the addition is going to be similar to the character of the addition at 7866 Stoneley Lane. I would put on conditions that the addition remain open in perpetuity, that it never be enclosed, that there is no additional addition to be, there will never be, let's see, there's not a variance, there will never, we will not approve a variance for another addition on the rear of the house. And this is in line with what I remember as being set in case 26-2015 BZA. And for those reasons, for those conditions, I believe it's the right thing to do to grant the variance. I think I've included everything.
Anyone else from the,
Well, I will just second everything you've said, and I will add that this addition is actually smaller, well, maybe not smaller, but not as deep. It's only 14 feet versus the previous one, which was 16. So it is not, I don't think, as substantial as the other one that was already granted as a precedent. So I'm in favor.
anybody else? I'd have to agree with the sentiment of Mr. Haber and Mr. Neselevich. Mr. Haber has been on the committee in the past when the approval was made for another home to have a similar structure made, and I'm in agreement with, making sure it stays substantially open, and then also restricting any other structures from being added to the house. That being said, does anyone wish to make a motion?
Well, I'd sure like to make a motion. Is there anything that we need to do regarding that the staff has found that it could be, that the variance could be substantial? And I'm not really wanting to determine whether or not it's substantial. I believe it's the right thing to do.
Well, I think we're here to provide relief, so that's what we're doing.
So if it's substantial, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say, is that do we say in the motion that it's not substantial?
Yes, you will. So to kind of further explain why staff was kind of, it could be substantial, is because looking at all of the houses on Stone Lane, they are all west facing. So staff was of the opinion that to get approved for this variance, that there's a potential, or there could be a potential for the rest of the street to also want a variance.
Right.
So that's kind of where the could be came from.
Okay.
We weren't necessarily against it.
Okay,
It was completely a...
No, we rely on your opinion, so I think it's important that, exactly. Mr. Chair, regarding case number 8-2018 BZA, I move that we grant the variance request to allow addition to a rear of the house with a rear yard setback of 24 feet. I'm going to here just collectively acknowledge staff's report and also include that we believe that the variance is not substantial. We acknowledge the precedent set with the earlier case that I've already mentioned, Mr. Navila, and in addition to that precedent, that this addition, as Mr. Nasilevich has said, that the addition is smaller than the previously granted case. The addition, according to testimony, is going to be similar in character to the previous variance request. I'm going to add that we believe it's a hardship because of their outdoor private space faces the west, and to get relief from the harsh sun, an addition is required. Conditions are that it will remain open in perpetuity and not be enclosed, that there will be no other addition that will be added to the rear of the house. That the addition is in conformance with the drawing dated April 23rd, 2018, that construction start within a year and be completed within 2 years. I think I have it.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Nasalevich?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Skank?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye. With that, we'll move on to case number 9-2018 BZA. Would anyone wish to start us off in discussion of this one?
I'll just start out by saying that I'm in favor. I think there's actually very little change in what I see as change to the volume of the house, and I think it'll add value, and I think it'll add to the character of the neighborhood.
Anyone else?
I'm in favor as well. So,
I agree in granting the variance for the same reasons that staff has and that staff's included and Mr. Nasalevich has stated.
I also agree.
That being said, do we have a motion?
I can do it.
Somebody.
Mr. Chair, I motion to approve case number 9-2018 BZA at 7072 Patterson Road, based on staff findings and the plans that were submitted dated May 16th, 2018. Construction to begin within a year and completed within 2 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Nasalevich?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Skank?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye. With that, I guess we can take a recess while you prepare. So we'll be in recess. This was a straw poll. We will vote again and after we review the documents, but for most part, everything has been approved. And your documents will be...
We won't vote again.
We won't vote again. Okay, we'll just sign again, and then when will the paperwork be ready?
Sometime early next week.
Okay. Thank you. We're in recess. I'm sorry? There is one more vote, I'm sorry. Okay, oh, you're fine. You got mics on? Mics up. We are back in session, reviewing the, what do we call these again?
The resolution.
We're reviewing the resolutions.
I think number one's off. I think he is expanding it. He said it's going to go 2 feet over.
And not
Yeah, it is 2 feet out beyond
the variance is not.
It's not expanding the existing footprint of the patio.
And just leave it at that? Wait, what?
plus, the existing patio plus 2 feet. Out from the house.
the here.
Yeah. That looked good, doesn't it? Got the footprint in there.
What do you guys think?
Variance is actually an addition to the existing patio.
We might just kill the whole sentence. I don't know if it's really saying much.
Do we just want to say the variance is not substantial?
Yes.
Yeah, that probably, less is better.
Yeah. Sorry, were we ready?
There was some good language that I think can be added in number 1, which included the precedent of case, what was it, 26-2015?
Yes.
Which would help that the variance is not substantial. And you can put a semicolon there, or something to say that
In keeping with case.
in keeping with the variance granted at whatever the address was under case 26-2015, as well as the fact that the size of it was, let's see, the east, let's see.
7866, don't they?
Mr. Nasalevich said that it was, what,
2 feet.
2 feet.
Small. 2
it was 12 feet instead of 14
The
feet.
depth was
The
2
depth, yeah,
Yeah, 16 feet less than 14 feet.
yeah.
In keeping with the variance granted.
Is that,
Which is 2 feet smaller in width. Yeah. Then not in question, we're going back to
Variance.
7866.
smaller width, just get rid of
Okay,
that. The end.
okay. Sorry for the confusion there.
No.
No, they have the variance granted.
It's not,
In
What
keeping,
was the number?
26-2015.
granted.
Well, you can, in that case, just say it's wider. It's
26. And then delete.
This, see, you're referring to the previous variance granted, which is 2 feet smaller in width, so you want to say that that one is 2 feet wider
yeah, it's 2
in
feet
width.
wider. That was 16 by 18, this one's 14 by 21. So the square feet are about the same, aren't they? You know,
Variance is actually
not doing the math, but it looks like it would be about the same.
That works for me.
Okay.
Okay, at the end of number 2, where the addition will be constructed with similar materials as the existing house and in similar to design to that variance granted with case 26.
Similar to the...
They have the plans for the variance.
Yep. Yeah, that's just, yeah, yeah. We're not changing the character of the neighborhood.
we want to add that there was no opposition
Yeah, I think that's...
as a reason to?
For which one?
Just as another line that maybe says that there was no, I was expecting there'd be some opposition from maybe the two houses behind him, but
Do you
there
want
was no
to
opposition.
add it to the first?
No, just another line.
There was no opposition, and it was approved by the HSA.
Yeah, you could say that it was approved by the HOA.
Yeah.
HMO.
You want to mention interpretation?
Well, they're down below, I think. Yeah. Did you want to run, there was no opposition? Jan?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we didn't bring it up, but I think for me, that was one of the items that really also helped.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a good inclusion.
Okay. Right. I'm good to go on down.
Sounds good to me.
Anybody else? Mr. Chair, regarding case 8-2018 BZA, I move that we approve and journal our decision.
Second.
Motion and a second. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Nasalevich?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Skank?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Sweet. Do you say anything about the current setback, non-conforming setback of 26 feet?
We have not mentioned that anywhere.
I think it's important that we talk about the non-conforming issue.
So then, right after edge of pavement, you could put although, and then go on to, it's outside, it requires a variance because,
Because it,
No,
you don't like that?
no, let's go back and put a period at the end of pavement and say, new sentence, in addition, the current setback, I'm sorry, the current non-conforming setback of 26 feet,
24.
that's the new one, isn't it?
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
change to 24 feet. And maybe there's some other language there, guys, to,
Just maybe say that's not substantial change. I don't know.
that's what, yeah.
That's, I mean, that already
And it already says
leads
that.
off of that, too.
Does it already say that
It's
someplace?
just,
The first, the very first part of the sentence.
Just I'm trying to figure out
Number one.
what we're trying to say with that sentence.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, I appreciated the 44 feet, but it's not a zoning issue. And we're here talking zoning, so we're from a setback. That doesn't mean you get rid of it, but I'm just saying that going from 26, a non-conforming 26 to 24 is not substantial.
Do you want me to add, which is not substantial?
Sure, why not?
Kind of completes the sentence.
That's fine with me. But that's the zoning issue, not the 44 feet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Looks good.
Yep.
Okay? Mr. Chair, regarding case number 9-2018 BZA, I move that we approve and journal our decision.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second to approve the resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Nasalevich?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Skank?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye. With that, we're done. We can adjourn.
Significant other
Right.
than say I'm just loud.